Hi, Ghosties. I'm Macy.
And I'm Nadoly.
And if there's one thing about Nadoly, you may know if you've been here with us, but she is a believer of Bigfoot.
I am.
You are.
Okay.
She may have a harder time with some of the other cryptids and oddities that we talk about here, but when it comes to Bigfoot, he's got her hooked.
Yes.
So today, I thought we'd go on the hunt through some of our listener stories for encounters with the elusive creature. We have several encounters, all of them interesting, and if you make it to the last story, it may actually resemble something else we've talked about before. But
okay.
You'll have to wait until the end for that one.
I didn't know we were doing this. All right.
Yes.
I'm really excited. This is just stories full of people that have encountered Bigfoot that are listeners?
Yep. Listener stories, Bigfoot.
All right. I'm locked in. I'm excited.
Also, before we get started, I have a call to action for you guys. If you have a story that's, you're not 100% sure it's paranormal, it's very creepy, it's unsettling, it feels like it might have been paranormal, but you're not sure. Maybe it kind of falls more into the realm of a possible true crime event, but you're not sure. Send it to me because I'm kind of cooking something up.
Oh, interesting.
Like a Let's Not Meet Shadow Person edition.
You know? Okay, cool. Cool.
Doesn't have to be a shadow person, just like something creepy and strange and terrifying that has happened to you that you're willing to share.
All right. Yes, please send it because now I'm really interested.
Yeah. So call to action. If you have one, send it in. Our tea today is Republic of Tea, the People's Green Tea.
It's been my savior the last 4 days. I've had probably, 3 cups a day for the last 4 days.
Nice.
Yeah, so got lots of honey in it because I'm going to try not to cough this episode. All right.
Let's go. So we'll start with a story from Dallas. I will start with a story my mother and grandparents have told me. My grandparents took my mother and her brother and my grandmother's dog, this is important, on a camping trip in Washington. The location of said camping trip has since been forgotten. After getting to their campsite, they set up camp at the bottom of a cliff. At some point in the night, the dog became agitated and kept growling. Something hit their tent repeatedly, like something being thrown from above, the top of the cliff. The dog was finally set off and needed out of the tent. They all poked their heads out of the tent, and something was seen peeking over and then receding fast after it was seen. My grandfather is adamant that it was Bigfoot. My mother has no idea what she saw.
Oh, creepy. I feel like we could probably get endless stories like that.
Yeah.
So, as you're like a half skeptic, what do you think that was?
Could have been anything.
Like?
It could have been Bigfoot. It could have been a creepy guy in the forest.
True.
Could have been a number of other cryptids of some kind in the woods.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm only half skeptic because there have been so many stories of like, we found this evidence. And it was like, oh, actually, Gary planted that. You know what I mean?
Well,
and that's what, it bothers me.
It
bothers me.
Okay.
Dallas also had several other stories, so we will return to Dallas another time, but that is their family Bigfoot story.
I like it.
Our next story comes from McKayla. Hi, Ghosties. My name is McKayla. I love your podcast and the awesome vibes you both have. I have finally worked up the courage to send in some stories to share with you that I believe were Bigfoot. Feel free to share these on the podcast if you'd like. Both of these stories take place in the same trailer home. For visualization, the trailer was at the bottom of a large hill, and the whole side and back of the area was a wooded forest area. The home was about 3 feet off the ground with a little set of stairs at the front door. When you walked into the trailer, you were in the combined living, dining, and kitchen area with my parents' small bedroom immediately to the right of the front door. Then, if you went to the left, there was a very short hall that had the bathroom on the right, then went straight back to 2 doors. The door on the right led to my brother's room, then the door on the left went to my sister's room, my sister and I's room. Our room was different, though, as it had a sealed door to the outside that had a window in it, with just a small curtain covering the door. Again, the door was sealed, and it also did not have any steps outside, so on the outside of the trailer, it was just a door a few feet off the ground, if that makes sense. In our room, my sister and I had a trundle bed, and I had the main bed. She had the pull-out one. The bed was against the wall directly under the window. In the first story, it was late one night, and my sister and I were laying in our beds, talking a little but getting ready to sleep, when we noticed a shadow being cast on the curtain covering the door window. There is a large light on a post outside of the house that was casting the light, and what we saw terrified us, because it was the silhouette of a head, as if someone was trying to look into our window. We both laid there terrified for minutes before the figure walked away. It wasn't until the next day I thought about it and realized how tall the figure would have had to be since the door was almost 3 feet off the ground and the window
Yeah.
was at the top of that door.
I was just about to say, like a trailer house, if you don't have steps, that door's kind of high.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Which, side note, I used to always want to have that, but then where the stairs are gone, so no one could get up into the house.
Just like this.
That always made me feel safe if like we could just take the stairs off.
Retractable steps.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
like that. The shadow of whatever was looking in the window had the top of its head at the top of the window. I can still clearly remember how it looked that night, and so can my sister. Okay, so this second story absolutely scarred me. This happened after the first story. I think it was a couple days later. Again, I was laying in my bed and my sister was asleep in her bed. For context, I had an air mattress with no sheet on it, so every single movement I made was loud. Okay, so it was late and I was laying in bed. I was weird and liked to sandwich myself between my mattress and the wall, which was directly under the window. I was trying to fall asleep when I started to hear 2 raccoons outside my window messing in the area where there were 2 rusty, messed up barrels that were directly below my window outside. I heard the raccoons for a couple of minutes, and then I heard this deep, guttural growl, and the raccoons started freaking out and screaming. Suddenly it went quiet for a moment, and then I heard the metal of the rusty barrels, like they were being torn apart, and the rough, heavy breathing of whatever was outside my window. I froze with fear as I was laying directly against that thin wall. I was terrified to move, because if I could hear whatever was outside perfectly, then they could probably hear me. I just kept listening to the leaves rustle and the metal tearing until I got the courage to almost leap over my mattress onto my sister's bed. I immediately woke her up, and she didn't hear anything and was grumpy that I woke her, so I left the room and found my dad and older brother in the living room talking. I told them what happened, and my dad took a flashlight and said he was going to go check it out, but I begged him not to, because I was so scared that something would happen. He went anyway and was gone for a few minutes before he returned and just told me it must have all been the raccoons. I know what I heard, and there was no way it was just raccoons. To this day, this memory makes me shudder, but I wholeheartedly believe it was something out of the ordinary, such as Bigfoot. Sorry, this was such a long email, and I hope you both can give me your thoughts on what you think happened. Thank you for reading and for creating my favorite podcast. Keep up the great work. Sincerely, McKayla.
Oh, thank you. So my first thought was for the trash can or the barrel thingies was like a bear or something.
Mhm.
I don't know where this person lives. That was my first thought though for that. But the thing that was really, really tall, I don't know. I don't know what that could be. Can bears get that tall?
Not like 9 feet tall, because what do you imagine? A door
no
is like
idea.
what, 6 feet tall?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it's at the top of the door, it's at least 6 feet.
6 feet.
And then another 3 feet, so that's 9 feet.
For it to be that tall, I would think something strange is happening. The second thing I could have easily written off in my head is like, oh, it's a bear. It's
Some
a big
kind of
animal.
big predator.
You know, something like that. But the first one, I don't know.
But they also happened only a few days apart from each other too.
Exactly. So if we wouldn't have heard about the first one, I'd be like, "Ugh, it's just a bear. Don't stress it." But the first one being there and hearing like a nasty like growling sound and all that, I don't know. Does Bigfoot make like growling sounds?
Some people say that they've heard growling, grunting.
I thought it was like a different noise.
There's a lot of different supposed noises of Bigfoot.
I don't know.
There's some say that they sound kind of like ape-like.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but I mean, apes can growl.
I don't know.
Like
Something
growling noises.
Something spooky happened, and you're brave for being able to stay that long and like listen to it. Because, I mean, I guess you froze. I was about to say I would have bolted out of there. No, I would have froze too.
Yeah,
And
so
done exactly that. Jumped to my sister's bed. So yeah. Did I write that?
Maybe. That was very spooky though. Our next story comes from Diana. Hi, Ghosties. Recently, I subscribed to your YouTube channel when I was in the mood for some Appalachian horror stories. My apologies in advance. English isn't my first language. After binge listening to almost all of your podcasts, I realized that I too have a strange story that's been passed down in my family for 3 to 4 generations.
Oh, wow.
To set the stage, the Almasty, also spelled Almas and a different spelling of Almasty, is a legendary creature said to inhabit the remote mountains and forest regions of the Caucasus, mainly in Russia and Georgia, and parts of Central Asia. Here's a quick rundown. The Almasty is typically described as a large, hairy, human-like creature, smaller and more human-like than the North American Bigfoot, around 5 to 6 feet tall with a muscular build, covered in reddish-brown or dark hair, and having primitive facial features. Reportedly, mainly in the Caucasus Mountains, but also in Mongolia, Kazakhstan, and parts of Siberia. Said to be shy, nocturnal, and elusive, some accounts suggest it can make simple tools or mimic human sounds, leading some to believe it could be a surviving relic, hominin, like a Neanderthal or Homo erectus. In local folklore, the Almasty is seen as a wild man or a kind of spirit, like cryptozoologists treat it as a possible undiscovered primate or ancient human relative. There's no verified scientific proof, only stories, footprints, and a few questionable hair samples that turned out to be human or animal. In short, the Almasty is like the Caucasian cousin of Bigfoot, rooted in both folklore and anthropology. Now that you know what I'll be talking about, here's the story my great-grandmother, R.I.P., told us many, many times. My great-great-grandfather was a Sherpa in the North Caucasus Mountains, and also herded sheep. One day, while up in the mountains, he returned to his camp and found a very large, hairy woman eating soup straight out of the pot with her bare hands. When she saw him, she rushed at him. Startled, my great-great-grandpa wrestled her to the ground, and when he finally managed to get her on her back, he let her go, telling her to leave. He had no intention of hurting her, and she ran off.
Oh my God.
But came back shortly after, sitting quietly with his herding dogs, who didn't bark at her at all. Over the next weeks, while tending the herd in the high pastures, she began helping him, gathering, lifting, working around camp. She was completely nonverbal, but she understood tone and gestures, and seemed to communicate through moans, expressions, and movement. When it was time to return home, she followed him down to the village in the middle of the night, terrifying my great-great-grandmother and my great-grandmother, who was only 12 at the time. Great-great-grandpa told them, "She won't leave me alone. She's harmless. Prepare a bowl and some water for our guest." They gave her the only indoor space available, a small attic-like space between the roof and ceiling where she stayed. She had a cast iron bowl for food and fresh water every day. She became part of the household, coming and going freely, but never staying away for more than a day. She helped the family with farm work and chores, and everyone grew used to her presence. My great-grandmother used to say that even though the Almasty never spoke a single word, she brought an odd sense of peace with her, a quiet, protective presence. Because of her, my great-grandmother said she was never afraid of the dark again.
Wow.
Years later, when my great-great-grandfather's health began to fail, the Almasty became restless. On the day he passed, the whole town heard her cries echoing like thunder through the mountains. Weeks later, one night she began screaming, crying, and breaking things. When my great-grandmother climbed into her attic space, she found only the cast iron bowl, folded completely in half. The next morning, soldiers arrived at the door, ordering the family to pack essentials. Within minutes, they were deported, along with millions of others, to Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan under Stalin's orders, a real-life horror story of its own. But until her last days, my great-grandmother spoke of the Almasty as if she were an old friend. My family still keeps that folded cast iron bowl as a reminder of her strength and of the strange, loyal creature that tried so hard to protect them. Thank you for reading. I don't know if this will ever make it to your show, but I hope you enjoyed it. Best, Diana.
Whoa. Whoa.
That's
whoa,
some family lore. That's insane.
That is so interesting. I don't even have words. That's really cool. I wish we had a picture of the bowl.
I know.
I was hoping you were about to say that.
That was my favorite part, that the family still has this old folded bowl.
Yeah.
Cast iron folded? That's strength.
That's really insane. And I really like that story because even if it is not cryptidy, it's not Bigfoot, it's not anything, like even if it ended up just being a person and like the story got, told and told and told.
It's just legend.
It's still like a nice story. I think like it's a story of kindness, Yeah. I like that a lot.
And family.
I like that a lot. But I do like it being like a Bigfoot type story. And she just was like, hey, I'm going to live. Or the grandpa was like, she's going to live with us now. It's like, all right, cool.
She's helpful.
I really like that.
That's
really
sweet.
I like that one.
Very sweet.
I was not expecting that at all.
When I first read it, I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked. That's so interesting. Our next story comes from Ashley. Hey, y'all. No need to keep me anonymous if anybody hears this story. If you choose to share it and recognizes who I am, I don't care, because I know I'm not crazy, and this is 200% real. My name is Ashley Brooke, and I live in North Carolina. Back when this took place, I lived in a small town called New Hill. Still in North Carolina, never lived anywhere else. My cousin lived on a family farm, and I spent a lot of time there, from like 4th grade all the way until my senior year of high school. The large property she lived on backed right up against Jordan Lake, which is a man-made lake that was supposedly built over a town a while back. Not exactly sure when, but it's been around as long as I can remember, And the thought in itself of there being some sort of lost city of Atlantis situation going on under there is weird enough if I think about it too much. Not sure if that town under the depths of the murky brown water has anything to do with what my cuz and I experienced that terrifying night, or if it has something to do with her land, especially as I'm not fluent on its history. Or maybe it has something to do with one of the alleged bodies that has been supposedly found in Jordan Lake over the years, either from dump sites or drownings, etc. One of the people that drowned in the lake was someone I actually knew in high school. Maybe he came back to mess with us because he was pissed I never gave him back his headphones I borrowed. Not
Aw.
funny, but I make jokes when I'm uncomfortable, lol. And thinking about this still gives me the heebie-jeebies because we really don't know who or what this was and just how close we really came to something paranormal or even worse. And as Nadoly would say when I think about this, quote, I almost shat, lol.
Oh my God.
So, like I was saying, her property backs up right to the lake, which normally you would have to pay to get access to. So, it was always a sweet deal to be able to walk the mile or so trail through the woods and get private lake access for free. We made a big habit out of this over the years and never encountered anything or anyone suspicious before this night. The night in question, we decided to camp. I know, yes, camp. But hey, at the time, we were reckless, fearless teenagers who didn't see anything scary about two teenage girls camping alone in the middle of the woods next to the lake. Boy, were we in for it. So we set up our tent and had her four-wheeler to ride around and collect firewood on the back of, etc. And we were having a blast at first. We had a Beats speaker jamming to whatever crap we liked to call music at the time, and may or may not have been participating in some good old-fashioned underage drinking. Just having a good time, but the night was still young. Seemingly out of nowhere, the four-wheeler's headlights that we had going and pointed at our tent to provide us some sort of visibility other than our phones, because we didn't think to bring flashlights, insert eye roll here, went black. And the measly fire we managed to barely get lit had simmered down to practically nothing more than some red and orange smoldering. This was a little unexpected and unnerving, since the four-wheeler's battery definitely shouldn't have died that quickly. We climbed out of the tent, more annoyed than afraid at this point, and tried to crank it up. And nothing but a little sputter of it trying to come to life before it just stopped. We groaned about having to face the music with her dad that we killed the battery, and we'll have to drag all our crap back up to the house by foot the next day and climb back into the tent to continue hanging out and listening to music. All of a sudden, me and her both at the same time just got a feeling, which I hate to describe it like that because it sounds so cliche, but there is no other way to put it into words. Her and I both simultaneously felt a presence creep upon us, and we stopped talking. And with our breath hitched in our lungs, we sat silent, apart from the music that was still playing out of our speakers, and listened to hear who or what was most definitely right outside of our tent. A twig or twigs snapped, and then the speaker just cut off. Like it died out of the blue, which was impossible because it had been fully charged in preparation for our little camping trip. Me and her are both silently still, holding our breath and frozen in place as we can hear something or someone walking and creeping around our tent. But not only can we hear it, but we feel it. The hair on my hair was standing on end. The air was electrically charged, and there was the sound of twigs and leaves crunching all around sporadically, matching the sound of footsteps or movements, but not in a normal way. Like it didn't have a set pattern to it, the way a normal person walks. I thought for a second perhaps it was a coyote because they travel in packs, and that could make sense to why the movements sounded like they were all around us at the time, stalking. But animals make other noises too, like sniffs and panting, etc., and none of that was happening. All I could hear, apart from the footstep-like movements outside of our tent, was the sound of my heart drumming in my skull. And the wind started to whip outside the tent, and it was a perfectly still night before this. And then, all of a sudden, it got even quieter than it had been before. Almost void of sound entirely, and we could see something moving in the shadows cast by that barely smoldering fire right outside. And then the energy we felt pass through our bodies is something I've never felt before in my life. Fear and dread don't even cover it. Despair is the only word that comes close. We can see it through the sliver of space between the fabric and zipper of the tent. A blacker than black shape stalks around our tent, circling us, but no footsteps or twig snap or crunching of leaves can be heard anymore. My cousin looks at me. She's the color of pure snow, all the blood drained out of her face, And as she meets my face, she chokes out in a whisper, "What is that?" And I shake my head side to side to say I don't know as subtly as I can, still clinging to the primal survival instinct that if I don't speak or move, whoever or whatever is out will go away. And she whispers back to me, "It isn't human." And then instantly, the speaker that was dead starts blaring this siren-like sound I've never heard it makes before, and flashing lights like it would do when it was playing music. And we started pressing the off button in a frenzy, beating it, trying to break it, anything to get it to stop before whatever is out there knows we're in here, as if it doesn't already. And finally it stops and it's dead silent again. Me and my cousin are clinging to each other now, arms locked, but still laying on our stomachs on top of the giant raft we were using like a makeshift air mattress inside the tent, panting for air with our hearts beating like they might burst out of our rib cages, when something takes what felt like a foot wearing a heavy shoe or boot and nudges the raft we're laying on, sending us lightly swaying back and forth with the motion like it wanted us to know it knew we were there and exactly where we were inside that tent. It was toying with us. And because it felt like it was a large booted foot that nudged the raft, I was now certain that someone, some deranged psychopath killer, had somehow tracked us through the woods, past all the houses on our family's property that only has one road in or out, and was about to gut us like fish, Friday the 13th style. We both started screaming, and she instantly grabbed her phone and called her mom as we flew out of the tent, ready to fight for our lives or run back the mile or so path to her house as fast as our legs could carry us. When we ripped out of the tent, there was nothing and no one there. And her mom, sensing the utter panic and desperation in our voices, wasted no time getting into her car and hightailing it down to where we set up camp to get us. She saw no one in a car or on foot coming down there to get us, and like I said, that was the only road in or out. And the only other option was whatever it was ran into the woods or ran and jumped into the lake and swam away, because we would have heard a boat. And we didn't. Didn't hear anything run into the woods or splashing in the water to swim away either. Whatever it was just gone. As quickly as it descended upon us, it vanished, and without a trace. There were no tracks on the ground around our tent other than our bare footprints the next day when we went back to get all our stuff we'd abandoned in our escape to safety. And the four-wheeler that's battery had died started right up, no problem.
Oh my gosh.
We have been back down there again several times in larger groups and never experienced anything like that again. But now whenever I go there, especially at night, I can almost feel something watching me from a distance. Sorry for the long read, but I swear every word in this is true, and it's definitely the scariest thing that I've ever been through. If we lived closer to the Appalachian Mountains, I'd say confidently it had to have been a flesh pedestrian, but who knows? Why couldn't they travel down here if they really wanted to? Animals migrate when people move into and disrupt their habitats, so who says cryptids and other beings can't either? I love the podcast. I listen to it all the time now, and I've been wanting to share this story with some podcasts that I listen to, because I listen to a lot, and I just felt like y'all were the one. So this is the first time I've ever shared this story on a public platform. So what do you think? Cryptid, ghost, Bigfoot, or something true crime? Which I agree with y'all, by the way. Real person, somehow worse.
Yep.
I have many other stories that I can share and will, but this one is so long, so I figured I'd get it out of the way first. XOXO, Ashley.
Okay, so, as you know, I would assume true crime, it's the killer, someone was coming to get you, you know. That's my go-to. But the fact that like all the noise in the forest or in the woods or whatever stopped. That's predator. That's like a you know, an animalistic predator type thing. You know what I'm saying?
I do, yeah. Like an instinct thing.
Yeah, because if it was just a scary person, like a scary man out there, I don't think the birds and everything would stop unless he was like the evilest of all evil.
Like
but if he was
a demon,
we wouldn't be here in this story because something bad would have happened, you know? So I think it was cryptidy, animal-y, real scary.
The way it disappeared, the way it totally, completely just
How?
vanished into thin air.
How?
See, some people believe that Bigfoot is an interdimensional being.
Yeah.
And so if it was Bigfoot and he just zapped into another realm, I don't know how he would do that, but you know?
I don't know how that works.
Nobody does. Nobody
I don't know, because I'm of the belief that Bigfoot is real and it's just some kind of
cryptid
or just some kind of animal that we just it's been like evading capture. It's been trying not to be seen and it's just very good at hiding.
Yeah.
So I really don't know, because that's the thing that got me too, is they didn't hear it run away, they didn't hear a boat, they didn't hear a car, like, how did it disappear so fast?
Yeah.
That's really spooky.
It scares me.
Well, yes.
Also, all of the all of the strange like technological troubles
That too.
at the same time of it all happening. Just it screams to me something not of this world.
Yeah, or could be some kind of, like, alien thing,
Mm-hmm.
because it just, beamed up or whatever. I don't know.
A very large alien thing.
Yeah. Very creepy. But
Very disturbing.
it, taking its foot and kind of, like, pushing the raft, was it saying, like, "I know that you're here," or was it kinda just like, "What is this?"
The
Like,
vibe-
inspecting.
The vibe that they got though was that it was being taunting.
Yeah.
And that could just be fear talking. Like you're out there alone, you're a teenage girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who knows? But yeah.
And I think that could definitely be it if that's how they felt. But whenever I think of someone, touching something with their foot, that's how you inspect, like, what is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you see like a weird rock outside that like, and you're going to just like push it with your foot, you're not going to like grab it. So
you're just kind of stepping around.
Yeah. So
Makes sense.
That's interesting.
By the way, cryptids are animals from folklore or unverified eyewitness accounts that science eventually proves to exist.
Oh.
Or some of them, like the
That's
Komodo dragon, gorilla, okapi, and giant squid were cryptids at one point. They were just people saying, I've seen this giant ape in the forests or in the jungles. And people are like, sure you did.
Interesting.
Sure you did, Terry. And
That's really interesting. I didn't know the definition of cryptid.
they don't always come to be. So this was like, I was
could.
searching for things that came more true. But people think that they are real creatures of some kind out there.
Nice.
All right. We have 2 more stories. This next one is very short. It's just a snippet of another email from Alyssa. So, Alyssa, we will return to the rest of your emails. Okay, so I live in rural Kentucky, and this is at my father's house, where it's just farmland and a few houses here and there, and hills and hills. So my dad's house sits on a hill where there are 2 deep hollers on either side. It's a decent-sized trailer home. And one day, I took my dog outside to go potty. While I'm scrolling on my phone, I get the sudden urge to look up at my dog. And suddenly, maybe 100 to 150 feet away, towards my neighbor's house, I see this brown ball-looking figure. And I think it's a turkey. We have a group of wild turkeys that roam near our house, and they are super mean to humans and animals. So I scream for my dog to hurry up and get inside, and suddenly the figure stands up for about 5 seconds and just watches me while I'm frozen in place before sprinting back into the tree line and behind a hill.
Oh God, I thought it was going to say sprint towards them.
No way.
Okay.
The figure looked about 6 feet tall and hairy like Bigfoot. Everyone I told doesn't believe me, and let me know if you have any questions. I have plenty of questions, but none I don't think you can answer. None I think you can answer.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love a short, quick little, I thought it was something, and then it stood up and was huge. Yeah. Love. That is
Scary.
so scary to me, but nothing really bad happened. That's like my favorite type of cryptid encounter type thing.
So this one is very Bigfoot to me because a lot of stories say that he's pretty like chill and he just runs away, just like any other animal, kind of. As long as you're not threatening them, they're just kind of like going to disperse away from you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that one really interests me.
That one feels, out of all of these, I think that one feels the most Bigfoot because it tried to get away.
Yeah. It just kind of stood up, looked, and was like, I'm going to get out of here.
I like it.
Our final story is from Kelli, and they said, Bigfoot or a hide behind?
Oh, no.
Hi, Ghosties. I've been listening to you all for a few weeks now and debating on whether I have anything to share with you at all. Well, today I heard your episode about hide behinds, and it unlocked a memory buried deep inside of my geriatric millennial brain. For context, I have lived in central and southern Indiana for the majority of my life, and this story takes place in a small town outside of Bloomington, Indiana. So way back in the 1900s, late 93, early 94 to be exact, when I was in 3rd grade, my teacher held a sleepover in the school's cafeteria. I don't remember if it was the whole 3rd grade or just our class, but either way, picture a gaggle of 8 and 9-year-olds with sleeping bags on the hard, cold cafeteria floor.
That's the scariest thing we've ever talked about. A teacher hosting a sleepover like that. That is a brave soul.
We did that.
In 3rd grade?
Not in 3rd and 5th.
Oh, in 5th grade we did.
We did.
Teachers were built different back then, man.
Respect.
I
Respect
could
all
never.
of you. We played on the playground outside, had pizza for dinner, and played games in the cafeteria. I remember music and friends and general kid chaos. Once everyone was in pajamas and night had settled in, our teacher wanted to take us on a tour of the school after dark. In true 80s, 90s child-rearing fashion, the objective of this nighttime tour was to scare the pants off of all of us with spooky vibes and voices. The teacher was telling ghost stories, but I don't remember any details of them at all. And she had even schemed with the school's custodian so that he would momentarily cut the power off while we all stood in an especially dark and eerie stairwell together. After the adults had themselves a good hard laugh at the trauma they'd inflicted on 30-plus small children, we were taken to the little space outside of the cafeteria and stood in line waiting for everyone to go to the bathroom before we settled down for a movie on one of those old AV carts. The area that we were in had double doors on one side that led into the hallway. The kind of doors with the super skinny long windows going from just above the handle to the top of the door. Across from those doors and to the left were the cafeteria doors, and immediately to the right of the double doors was the bathrooms. I was leaning against the wall with the double doors to my left and the cafeteria in front and to the right, talking to my friends, when I got a weird feeling like I was being watched. I started to scan around to see who was staring, and when I looked at the closed double doors to my right, my heart jumped out of my chest. I screamed in sheer terror at the sight of something huge and dark peeking in through the window of one of the doors. This thing was tall, maybe 7 feet. It had orange eyes and was covered in dark fur, and it was just standing there, staring in at us. I made eye contact with the thing for no more than a few seconds before I screamed and it slipped back out of sight. Now, I was a super quiet and very well-behaved kid, so when I reacted like this, my teacher immediately ran to me. I remember my legs went out from under me and I was just sitting on the floor shaking and sobbing and pointing to the door trying to tell my teacher what I had seen. Of course, no one else seemed to have seen it, so the teacher told me it was just my imagination. Friends suggested that it was the custodian pranking us again, but if that was the case, why wouldn't he stay there to be seen by other kids? I didn't sleep at all that night. I remember that I kept looking at the cafeteria doors all night and thinking, any second it's going to burst in here and get us all.
Oh my gosh.
I never saw anything like that again, not that night and no other time either. I have wondered about that thing over the years since. What was it? Bigfoot? Swamp thing? Aliens? Chewbacca? I have even searched high and low on the internet looking for people who've also seen strange things inside that old school, but I haven't found anything. When I heard your episode about hide-behinds, it sounded so similar to what I saw that night, so I thought I would share. I'm not sure if that's what I saw, or perhaps it was something else entirely. Either way, it's a mystery for me to this day. I don't mind if you use this on the pod. At some point, I'll send you the story about my experience in a haunted hotel that I didn't know was haunted until the next day. Thank you for keeping me company while I drive and clean my house. Macy is one of the very few people I can stand to hear reading aloud. So few people bother to read out loud with inflection and punctuation. Keep it up, ladies. Kelli.
Shout out.
Thank you, Kelli. That was very, very nice.
That was kind. What is it with schools and
all of them?
Just, you know what? I had a creepy thought.
Hmm.
So,
I'm scared.
in a school, there are tons of rooms, right? Tons of rooms, tons of closets, bathrooms with a bunch of stalls. Someone could easily frog up in there for a long time and nobody would know.
Yeah.
Unless you have tons of cameras in the school, which I mean, a lot of the times now they do, but
nowadays, not
back
in the
then,
90s, no.
No, that could have easily been some person. And that to me is way scarier than any type of ghost, Bigfoot, Chewbacca, even whatever,
Peeking in, watching children.
A random person that lives in the school at night and roams around.
But why were their eyes orange and their body covered in a dark fur?
You know what? I don't know.
Some of the hide-behind stories did say that they were hairy creatures, right?
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. It's been a while. But I think so. And while I was doing the hide-behind research, and I don't remember if I mentioned this in the episode or not, what if the hide-behind and Bigfoot are similar, if not the same? And just some of them are evil and steal loggers, and some of them aren't. You know what I mean?
That is interesting. Because hide-behinds did start, in
logging.
Logging. I forgot about that. Huh.
The only thing, hang up between them is the hide-behind can hide behind skinny little trees.
Yeah.
But if Bigfoot is an interdimensional being, maybe there's some kind of way that they can do that. I don't know. And we're getting way out there.
This is a strange episode, but
it was
I enjoyed it.
Scary. Very scary for that last story really freaked me out. Just being in the school and not having any way to call your mom to come pick you up.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
I stayed not like overnight, but I was in a school really late one time. And our old cheer coach asked me the other day, she's like, have you talked about it on the pod? I was like, no, because I don't even remember what happened. But here I am talking about it if she's listening. We were having a movie night with just like the whole cheer squad. And it was just, fun. And
That's
we were
fun.
hanging out and watching movies and just talking. And we were back inside like a old locker room / coach's office thing where we had the projector set up. Nobody's there.
Mhm.
Nobody's at the school. It's dark. It's nighttime. I think it might have been during Christmas break or something. So everybody was off. We heard like loud noises and banging and like someone was trying to get into the room where we were.
That's
And we were all like,
inside the building?
yeah. And we all like froze. Like, what do we do? And our coach even was like, what do we do? We're like, I don't know. You go check it out. Like, you're the adult. And I think she went, or
I would call the cops.
I think we had a couple boys on the team that were there. And so they like went and looked and nobody was there. And our coach came back and she's like, there's nobody here, guys. There's not a car outside. There's nothing. Nobody's here. And we're like, well, time to wrap it up. Everybody, this was fun. Grab your stuff and let's leave. I don't remember the whole story, so I could be changing
Still.
things, but that is the basic, like, what happened.
Crux of the situation.
Horrifying.
Was it a parent scaring you? Could it have
She
been?
said there were no trucks, no cars. Nobody was there.
That's so scary.
And yeah, and we had all driven ourselves. It's not like we were all like in high school, so I don't know, man. To this day, she brought it up to me like just
She still doesn't
a month
know.
or two ago, and this was this is like 8 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago. She's like, did you ever talk about that? Like, no, but it stuck with her long enough to where it was kind of freaky. Not gonna lie.
That's scary. We had a sleepover at the school when I was in high school too. It was for one act play.
Oh
we
my
stayed.
God.
It was. We were approaching competition time, and
Yeah.
we stayed overnight to do a bunch of like really late
Horrifying.
rehearsals and stuff
In the auditorium too.
In the auditorium. We
Ugh.
were also walking around through the old high school. We
Uh-huh.
were like sleeping in the in some of the rooms.
Yeah, no.
It was very spooky.
I would have never done that.
Were you in the gym?
Yeah, we were in the gym.
Okay.
So we were not in the auditorium. I would never go
Old gym? New
not
gym.
old gym, but old gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
spooky.
Pretty spooky, man. Pretty spooky. Something about a school.
Well, if you've encountered Bigfoot in or out of your school, please let us know. We'd love to hear your stories. You can email us at ghostiespod@gmail.com. Like this video if you liked it. Share it with your friends if you feel compelled to do so. And subscribe for more. We've got Boston Part 2 coming on Monday. Very fun and exciting places to talk
Yeah.
about.
I'm
with you.
excited to hear about the haunts.
Yeah, me too. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. You can join our Patreon. It's patreon.com/ghosties. Don't forget, we have a giveaway going on. So if you go back to Boston Part 1, you can go put your hat in the ring
Yes. Comment spirits. We'll stop checking
on the other episode
When will we decide? We should let the people know now.
next Friday. 1 week
Next-
from today.
1 week from today, we will decide. So you have 1 week from today to go comment on Boston Part 1.
Yes. Go check it out.
All right.
Other than that, we'll see you on Monday.
Goodbye.